Mercurial Mercenaries, welcome to the Mercury Prize 2018, where in this video we are about to talk about the Arctic Monkeys album
Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino.
Yes!
The delay won't make that strange at all.
First of all, my drink of the day, oh god, it's very hot in here. My drink of the day is, can you see this? This is a drink that I was reserving to drink during a Led Zeppelin album because it's called Dazed and Confused. But I'm going to drink it now, right? And it's this is interesting because it's caught me by surprise. It's, can you see that? It's I mean, you know, you could see it if it was in focus. It's milk stout. It's milk stout. It's milk stout.
I mean, I'm not the upstage, but as of right now, I am drinking Diet Pepsi out of a mason jar.
What's a mason jar? Like Freemasons?
It's a jar that you put Freemasons in.
Good. Just watch it because they've got tentacles everywhere apparently.
It's how the Illuminati started. Exactly.
But they don't like milk stout, do they?
It all started with the mason jars, and then the frogs got turned gay.
It's brilliant. Ones and zeros. Bill, this is a serious question now. Let's start this off seriously, right?
Let's do it.
Has anyone in America heard of the Arctic Monkeys?
I think AM might have been their most popular album in the States. I think due to sports commercials and things, it's kind of like how Song 2 was the only thing people over here knew about Blur. I think like Do You Want to Know and certain tracks off of AM are probably... and I think with Peaky Blinders being on Netflix, they might have heard a few tracks from them. I don't know if they've put together, you know, who sang it or not. But I'd say that would probably be the extent of it. I don't think they're as big over here as they are. What the hell?
Have you ever seen
a
ring pool
and I don't know
like
if I'd drink that.
I mean, the whole, like, it's amazing that the whole top comes off, so it's like a completely open pint. I've never seen that before. I would make
sure nothing is floating in there.
It's good. I can't taste the milk. Oh dear. Let's go and milk. Let's go and milk a large alien. So the upshot of it is that people have heard of the Arctic Monkeys then, in the same way as "Woohoo" by Blur. Are they like a one-hit wonder over there?
I don't think people even think that far into it. I think they just go, "Oh, I know that song from that commercial." I think that might be the extent of which people over here know the Arctic Monkeys.
Okay, so
because I would hear a lot, like you'd be watching like the NFL or something, and they'd play like highlights, and you'd hear like that song in the background while somebody throws a touchdown or something.
All right, would it surprise? Okay, right. So I think over here, right, the Arctic Monkeys were the first band to make it big by I think it was MySpace or something like that, like social media anyway, and. Everyone thought that would be like an internet revolution, a music revolution, and I suppose it kind of is. It kind of is as well. I suppose Arctic Monkeys and Justin Bieber and all that sort of nonsense. And I think they're massive here. I think they've headlined Glastonbury a couple of times, and I don't own anything by them. I've never owned anything by the Arctic Monkeys. I know nothing about them. I know they did. Hey, you look good on the dance floor. Oh, I know. That's about.
You should start a cover band because that was just.
That's the extent of my knowledge of the Arctic
as the American who just said that we don't know about the Arctic Monkeys, I own Favorite Worst Nightmare, Humbug. I'll feel really foolish if I'm naming these and it's the wrong title because I'm not looking at what the titles. But I didn't really get into Suck It and See. I just wasn't checking it out at the time, and I liked AM a lot. So Suck It and See was also what I wrote in my yearbook under my picture.
Okay, that's great. How many years have you waited to use that gag till someone actually?
I just spur of the moment.
Yeah,
Even
don't believe a word
even
of
with the late internet connection, the wit can go over modems.
No, it's quite incredible. I've thought that since you left my life and I've been functioning without the bicep, I've been struggling to come up with like spur of the moment witticisms like that. You're amazing.
I'm like that.
Do that.
I'm like that guy in the Everything Is Recorded track. I'm like, I don't even need that internet click track. I can.
It's just ones and zeros. It's brilliant. Right, this is good. Hang on. Oh dear. It hates it when you sniff and only one nostril does that.
It looks like you have a power outage there. So one of your nostrils is closed for maintenance.
Bloody hell. Why am I out of focus?
I like that people are gonna. I like that people are gonna tune into this to hear about the Arctic monkeys, and you're talking about your nostrils sticking to your face.
Right. So okay. Right. So
All right.
as far as I know about the Arctic Monkeys, right, they were this band that came along at a time that people were still doing sampling and dance music and stuff, and the Arctic Monkeys came along, kind of like the Strokes did a few years before. The Arctic Monkeys came along and reintroduced indie guitar music to the UK, and everyone thinks of them as a guitar band. And they have headlined Glastonbury as a guitar band. And so I go and I listen to Hotel Tranquility Moon Base Zero, and it is a album that sounds just like Pet Sounds. It sounds like Pet Sounds, Bill. It sounds exactly like if you took Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys and took Brian Wilson off it and replaced him with a bloke doing a transatlantic drawl, because he doesn't speak like he's. Well, actually, he changed. Have you heard him? Do you know how he's supposed to speak, Bill? That bloke out the Arctic Monkeys.
I do not.
Oh dear, he does.
If you're American and you hear a British guy talk, you just go, "Yeah, I figured that's what it sounds like."
No, but he's. Hey, I'm trying to sound like sort of like like a cowboy. He doesn't sound like that normally, Bill.
What?
It comes from up
north. He does not
here.
sound like a cowboy, at least one that I've ever heard of.
He's supposed to sound like this. By gum. Oi, by gum. Like that.
I've never watched like a Clint Eastwood movie where he's like, I've always wanted to sound like one of the Strokes. Like I don't remember that line in The Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
You didn't watch enough. You didn't watch enough John Wayne. Because in John Wayne,
was that like in Westworld? You know,
no, but it's true though. It's true though. In the initial, there was a cut of Westworld where Yul Brynner. I was going to say Rory Bremner then. Yul Brynner, right?
I'm talking about I was like when the Man in Black was going to shoot Dolores, and he said, "Let's kiss under the moon side boob." Do you remember that part? You don't even know the lyric I'm referring to.
What's that?
That's a lyric. That's a lyric from one of the songs.
Of what? Of what?
Of the album we're reviewing.
Bill, as I keep getting told, I don't listen to lyrics. I talk over albums. even when I wasn't recording, I've been just talking over it. I've been walking around the house just talking to the cat. I haven't listened to a single lyric. Actually, right. So I will say. Right,
okay.
Just looking over, checking it's still recording. You didn't see it. Checking it's professionalism. Checking it's still recording.
Is it still recording?
It's still recording. Okay. Ones and zeros. Right. Look at the size of that.
It's huge. Massive.
It's huge. I will let you talk about it. I just want to reiterate that to me, I haven't read anything about this album.
Okay.
And I wanted to do more this year, but I haven't even watched any videos or anything. So I really have just listened to it. To me, I don't know whether they've said this, because they may well have said this, but to me,
yes,
they have taken Pet Sounds and they have tried to recreate the sound of Pet Sounds. So that's what I got from it. What do you think about it?
I kind of disagree a little. I think it's definitely a concept album. I didn't hear Pet Sounds. There's definitely 70s kind of production in there. I forget which song it is. It almost sounded like something out of Clockwork Orange soundtrack. I felt like this is one of those deals where as I've said, I own all of their albums. I like the band a lot. And then when you talk about everything that this album is, I like all the pieces, but not necessarily the whole. So if you were going to sit me down and say, hey, it's a sci-fi concept album, great. Insightful lyrics, love it. 70s production, great. Do you like 1984? Yep. Do you like Blade Runner? Sure. Do you like the fact that they're taking chances instead of resting on their laurels? I love it. And then if they go, well, we put all that together, what do you think? And I'm just like, nope. I felt like I liked a lot of the pieces, but together as a whole, it sounded like lounge music to me. And if you're playing lounge music, ironically, it's still lounge music. I felt like, and in other words, I like the lyrics a lot. I always feel like Alex Turner is a cut above the rest lyrically. But when I actually listened to the song, they kind of just washed over me. The more I listened to it, it did grow on me, especially the first half of the album. But especially towards the end, it would start with a really interesting idea. I'd go, where are they going to take this? He'd start singing, and I'd go, oh, he's gonna do that again. And so I love that they tried this. I love how experimental it is. I like a lot of the direction, but I felt it was a bit too singer-songwriting. Even though the production and the instruments are good, you could tell it was a guy at a piano sort of leading, and I didn't think it played to their strengths. I wanted to hear more musicality in the sense of I wanted them to be able to branch out more and drive the songs a bit, not completely. And I wanted a bit more of a dynamic swing throughout the album. I felt like it was sort of around a 5 to 7 out of 10 dynamically throughout, and I really wanted to ramp up a little more, or sort of give me different things throughout.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from on a lot of that. My first listen, well, it's actually an album I listened to about 7 times in a row on a plane, but for some reason the volume control, you know, like you get headphone amplifiers because you can't get enough volume into your headphones. This plane didn't have any of that, so I had to listen to the Arctic Monkeys' Tranquility Base Hotel Shenanigans. I had to listen to it 7 times over this. So I didn't get.
Did you just play a track from Pet Sounds? Was that track 3 for Pet Sounds?
I'll tell you what.
It sounded just like it to me.
When sweating now, when all went right after we've done this, all right. Will you do me a favour? Will you listen to Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys, and then listen to a track on this album called something like the first 4x4.
First ever monster trunk front flip?
Yes. That song sounds just like the Pet Sounds album. And I'm sure that if you listen to Pet Sounds and that song, you'll go, ah, I see what he's on about. I see what the ugly English bloke is on about. With the glasses.
I will say that God only knows what we do without the world's first ever monster truck front flip.
There you go. There you go. There you go. That's the reason why I let you on this channel. Do you realise you're the only other person who's ever been on this channel apart from the Perfect 10? Do you realise that?
Perfect 10, yeah. And then she's a hard act. I'm more of a solid 7. She's definitely up to, you know. She's
yeah, well, I still actually watch our documentary that we did in Philadelphia.
Really? I was shocked by how many people watched that. But maybe that's just you watching it over and over. It's like, whoa, look at all the people that watch it.
Unfortunately, Bill, I think I've watched it 735 times. But we decided that your name should be the executive then, right?
Oh, and yeah.
Every time I watched that and I made that thing, the screen kind of went pink and it went, the executive. Yeah. Boom. And I think we should have stuck with that because that's a damn good name. That's better than the Mercurial number 6.
That does sound pretty good.
It's good. Could I be
And
the
I'll try not to
executive
dox you
Mercurial number
throughout this
6?
this video.
You did it already. You did it in the first 5 minutes. I'll beep.
Did I?
I'll beep. I'll beep the. Don't worry about it. And if
Jesus.
if anyone says, we'll beep that as well. Don't worry.
But I never say that. You just said it. You just said it, and I never say that. I don't think in my life I've ever said that.
Oh.
Stop acting like a. Stop sniffing your nose. Oh my God! Maybe I do.
I might not beep that one. Let's pull this back. This can be resurrected. The Arctic Monkeys were a kind of really frenetic guitar band.
Sure.
And they used to tell stories, I think, about their lives from being teenagers up north. So kind of, I would assume, although I haven't listened to the album, the one with the face on the front, which says like, whatever you think I am, I'm not, or whatever it's called, right? And songs like, I think you look good on the dance floor. I'm assuming that, like Jarvis Cocker pulp stuff, I'm assuming that they were telling stories.
I would say
about their
no.
life.
I mean, and I'll be honest, I haven't heard the first album, but moving on, I always liked his lyrics, and they were always a bit clever, and maybe, you know, he even references it on this album, maybe too clever sometimes. But I always thought he was good. He used a lot of wit and a lot of metaphor, and it was very, like on this album, he has a line, I always wanted to be one of the Strokes. He kind of has a Julian Casablancas quality about sort of using humor and using metaphor to get his point across. And I think he continues it, and I think on this album, it's the strength of the album to me. You know, one of the things that I really like about it is his lyrics. I mean, he talks about politics. He talks about his personal life. He talks about the state of music. He talks about technology and online things. But he does it in a way, you know, I mentioned that line where, you know, kiss me under the moon, side boob, is a way of saying we're sex obsessed as a culture in a clever, funny way. You know, there's some political stuff on here too. I like Science Fiction is a song where I don't like the way the song, just listening to it, but when I read the lyrics, I appreciated it more, and I really like the lyrics, and I wish I almost liked the song more. But I would say, like, throughout his career, at least to me, he was always a bit swarmy, and he was always maybe a little too Lothario, I'll say, in his persona. But I always appreciated how smart he was, and I always thought he was a really good lyricist.
Okay. That's interesting. It's a kind of different take on it. I agree with pretty much. I agree with most of that. The only thing I thought I disagreed with because I just thought it was how it was that in the early days they were kind of telling stories of their life and all I was going to bring up was the fact that this album seems to be some sort of weird concept album where, am I getting this right? Is it basically, is it kind of like he's thought, what would it be like if there was a hotel and casino on the moon in the Sea of Tranquility and we're looking down and it's like so it is a science fiction concept album? Is that what this is?
Sort of like it's sort of like a Las Vegas hotel on the moon, and I would assume it's in the future. Yeah, so that's the concept.
I liked that, and I agree, and I really liked the lyrics. I thought they were great. There was quite a few times where he said something. I just thought that's really clever.
Yeah,
and let me just say also that this guy, Alex Turner, he's a real. I mean, I've never liked him. He's a real. He's a real like. Oh, I don't know.
He thinks highly of himself.
Yes, right. So I didn't own anything by them. I didn't like him as a person particularly from what I'd seen. So then I watched them at Glastonbury on the telly, and they were amazing. The only thing I didn't like was the fact that he was speaking in an American accent, which is like, that used to happen in the old days here. You used to get a real, like, strong Englishman or Welshman or Scotsman or Irishman. Sure. And when they made it big, they would feel like, well, to make it big, they'd feel like they had to sing in an American accent.
Yeah.
And and I think over the years that's got less and less.
Oh,
But
sure.
he seems to be someone who just did the transatlantic drawl.
So do you think that, like, when you hear him sing, you think he sounds American?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, what do you think? Did you think he sounds English?
I think, yes. And
interesting.
almost like I think of him in the same way I thought of like the Britpop, where they just decided we're just going to have our accents and we're not going to. And to me, it's an exaggerated. Like in this, he has like a lounge singer sort of, exaggerated Elvis kind of sound.
Yes.
That that kind of melody, but I could hear the sort of twang of his accent in there.
Well,
at least
okay.
I thought I did.
Okay. I wouldn't say it was just this album. When they headlined Glastonbury, in between songs he was talking, and I thought, "What are you doing, mate?" Yes, he was doing he was doing Fat Elvis. He was doing a '70s Fat Elvis.
I feel that in this album. Yeah.
But if you take it like I kind of am, that this album is a lounge, kind of like a lounge jazz kind of album.
It's like a space age
works.
Lounge act.
It works, doesn't it? That voice, that drawl.
No, the voice is perfect for the concept, and that's kind of what I was saying in that I like the idea that they're trying the concept album. I like all of the parts about it, but when it comes to sitting down and listening to it, if you're being witty and you're being ironic, if you're an ironic lounge act, you're still a lounge act. So if I said, Six, there's this great lounge record I want you to listen to, how excited would you really be? You think of Bill Murray going Star Wars, and that's not something I would normally sit down to listen to. You don't know what that is? Oh, I used to do a lounge act on Saturday Night Live, and he had like the chest hair with the ruffled, And I wonder with this album, instead of wearing like rock and roll T-shirts, are all the kids gonna wear lounge suits with like the blue ruffles on with the chest hair sticking out,
On that note about like what the kids do, how has this album gone down over in America? Because
get a laugh.
Over here, this album, particularly on vinyl, was immediately like the biggest selling. Don't quote me on it, but like the biggest selling vinyl album, of the last decade or whatever. And I think it's been a massive seller here. Is it big over there? Or was it just another British band that no one gives a shit about?
I don't know that I know anyone who's even listened to it.
Yeah, I thought that might be the case. And I'm not sure if I know anyone in real life who has listened to this. So yet again, we're in our own little bubble where I think over here we're thinking that this album was really big, but actually if I went out into the street now, no one's going to listen to this. What did you another thing, because I liked oh my god, sorry.
Is that British? Was that a British burp? I think you were doing an American accent when you burped there. Are you trying to widen your online audience?
No, that was Tom Jones. I like the album cover.
Oh, I love the album cover.
Yeah, I like it. I don't know what it is, but I like it. It's like a.
I have it on my TV all the time.
Yeah,
That's
I can see it.
I like it.
Is that on your TV?
Yes.
Is that is that the hotel and casino on top of a record player?
It is. I enjoy it so much I don't even watch TV anymore. I just sit and stare at it.
Yeah, I mean I've done the same. What I do is I freeze frame this now, and I watch this on my TV. So I watch you sitting in front of that on my TV. It's good.
And it creates like it's really.
And what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to watch this, what we're doing now, on a loop on my TV forever because of the missing bicep.
Yeah.
Is it a bicep or a bicep?
I've always been the bicep of this operation. Sounds like a Black Mirror episode.
Oh, they need to give me more Black Mirror. I overdosed on Black Mirror. I loved Black Mirror.
I feel like I watch an episode and I go, why am I watching this? Because it makes me so depressed. And then the next day I go, I'll watch another one.
There was 2 episodes in particular. There was the one episode that was freaky as hell, and then there was another episode like the one with the girl who kind of, without giving anything away, she wakes up and all the public are out there filming her on their phones and she's running away. And do you know the one?
Oh yeah, I know exactly which one. And then at the end, I won't give away the twist, but I know which one you're talking about.
And then there's an episode which
Yeah.
is basically exactly the same, a series later, where there's a boy who's on his internet and he gets
Oh
filmed doing
yeah,
something and then
that
blackmailed.
twist. I did not see
Holy
that twist
shit.
coming at all.
And do you know what the thing is? I thought those two episodes, even though one is basically a carbon copy of the other, in my opinion, but I thought those two episodes were so good. And it's one of those times where I go out and I talk to a so-called friend about it, and then he goes, "Ah, no, they were shit." And like someone, you can really like something in life, and someone
Yeah.
else can just knock you down. They
Oh
can
yeah.
just go like that, like that. No, that was shit. You know, oh
one-
shit, was it? Was
I think
it?
my-
Was it shit?
I think the episode that horrified me the most was the one White Christmas. Do you remember
Yes,
that
yes,
with
yeah.
that one got me when the cops were just like, let's give him 20 years, and then they went, and then the other one that haunted me and it was more freaky than I thought it would be. Probably my favorite episode is the Star Trek one.
Yes.
Season 4, the Star Trek one with the guy from Breaking Bad.
I thought it was all right, but I can see why it was. That was similar. There's like
Yeah.
there's themes that run through, and that idea that
Sure.
that you can take your consciousness and put it
Yes.
into like a chip. And I mean,
Yeah.
going back to the last one, I think it was White Christmas or whatever. The bit where he's able to just the girl doesn't want to do what she's being told, and he just says, you can think about that for 30 years, and presses a button,
Yeah.
and then immediately she's had to sit in that white room for 30 years.
Yes.
That
Yes.
was horrible. That, do you know what? That was
What?
more horrific. That was the most horrific thing out of the whole bloody thing.
Well, I
It was
think
like
the
listening
Star
to
Trek one
Florence
too,
and
where
the
he turned her
Machine.
into a monster. He turned into a monster. And more importantly, how this relates to the Arctic Monkeys and the Hotel Base Casino, Tranquility Base
Now bring it
Casino.
on. I want
is
you to bring it back.
I
it
found the song "The Ultra Cheese" to be horrifying. No, I did. But I mean, we are talking about science fiction, and they do bring up Blade Runner and 1984 in the lyrics of this album.
Yes, this is interesting, right? Because I'm rubbish with lyrics in that I don't really remember them, but I specifically remember that as well. He says something. He does actually sing the line, something like,
What do you mean you've never seen Blade Runner, or something like that? Yeah.
I think.
And then he says 1984, 2018, like he's sort of just
I think what happens, right, is that people do that and then they get criticised because someone will just say, "Yeah, you're just reeling off nostalgia or popular culture. You're just reeling off pop." Do you know Family Guy, right? I like Family Guy, but basically the internet hates Family Guy because all it does apparently is reel off popular,
idioms, and catchphrases.
I like that.
Did you ever see the South Park episode where they had the writers from Family Guy and they were manta
Never
rays?
seen it. Never seen it. Never
These manta
watched
rays
South
would
Park.
pick random balls that just had like moment. It would just be like different
can see
strokes,
that.
and then they'd go, "Oh," and they just throw that in. And he's like, "Remember that time me and Arnold said what you talking about with us?"
But Family Guy does that, doesn't it? But but I think, right? Do you reckon? How long ago was that on South Park?
Ooh, 5 years?
Yeah. So, because I can imagine that certain people will have seen that on South Park, and because South Park did that, they now hated Family Guy. Because I find that with South Park, South Park has the ability to. I'll say to someone, "Why did you hate that?" And they'll go, "Oh, because South Park." It's like they have the South Park guys, Trey, whatever he's called. They have the ability to mold a certain part of culture by if they mock something. Like, right, for example, right, whenever I think of Matt Damon now, doesn't matter what he does.
Oh, Matt Damon!
Matt Damon! It's unfair. He must be like, holy shit, they destroyed my career. Team America.
I have a lot of respect for those guys because that show's still funny. I think they're fair. They eviscerate everybody. And I always laugh at their take on... my favorite joke they did ever was when Magic Johnson had AIDS, and then he cured AIDS. He took money, and they ground the money up, and he put it in a syringe, and he injected himself with money, and they saw the little dollar sign attacking the AIDS virus, and that's how he cured his AIDS. He attacked it with money. I thought that was the funniest thing ever.
It's brilliant. Do you know what? I haven't watched any of the episodes yet. I've just seen a couple of clips on YouTube. But Sacha Baron Cohen's got like Mrs. America or something.
Oh yeah,
at the moment.
yeah.
He takes an idea and he takes it to the nth degree. I mean, that's kind of a South Park spirit.
Well, yeah, and I always think he's funnier when he's dealing with real people. Like he did a few movies where it was completely scripted and over the top, and I didn't find that funny at all. When real people think he's real, and he uses that to sort of bring out who they really are. I mean, like I thought Borat was hysterical.
That's weird. Look at that. That's weird.
You finished that?
No, it's not the fact I finished it, but it's the fact that have you ever seen a ring pull that big?
No.
That's madness. Do you know what? If I do that long enough, right, the Arctic Monkeys might screenshot this and use it as their next album cover.
Tranquility Base
Come on, that was good.
Casino.
That was good. Come on, I need a round of applause for that. I need a round. Oh, I know I'm not American. I know I'm not American.
Off clap.
Right. So, right. Let's finish our discussion of Arctic Monkeys.
My goatee is getting white. I feel like I look like
God.
the older I get, the more I look like Mike Ehrmantraut from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
True. That's true, but he's got something about him, that bloke, hasn't he?
I have to get the weed whacker and trim it down. If I don't do anything, it's like I look like Wyatt Earp if I let it grow out with the goatee and everything.
I'd pay money for that. If you
when you shave,
if you can
when you shave your head, you've got to do something. Like I can't get a different haircut, so I got to do something creative. Like I'll have lamb chop soon or something just to mix it up. You should go with that look all the time. I can't believe I doxed you in the first 5 minutes. I really thought about doing that.
I won't even edit it. Do you like Arctic Monkeys, Tranquility Moon Base Hotel and Casino? Oh, I tell you what. This is because we've never done this. I've got a scale that I use for music. Right, no one else does this in the whole world. Right, you can put, if you put your hand out in front of you, your right hand in front of you like that, and point your thumb towards 9 o'clock, right? You've got from 6 o'clock all the way up to 12 o'clock, and you can have any point in between. You could have 7:05, you could have 8, you could have 8:06, you could have 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, you could have 11:05, you could have 5, you could have 2 minutes to midnight if you want.
You used to, and I tuned you out like 10 minutes ago.
I will say I tuned myself out
that
all the time.
People don't realize that what's difficult about recording this is he was saying that time is a big time difference between the United States and the UK. So right now in the United States it's 1:30, and in the UK right now the time is 1.46 kilometers.
That's true. You've been waiting years to use that.
I've been waiting to get that one in. I was like, he's talking about time. I can get my metric system joke is coming. It's almost better than the other joke I wanted to get out was a Norm Macdonald joke. My dad, when I was a kid, he used to smack me with a belt all the time. And the worst were those years where he was the WWE champion of the world.
That's quite good. Who was that? Norm
the big belt. Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald.
Norm Macdonald had a farm. I
like that your reference.
Had a WWE
your
belt.
Frame of reference is a preschool song.
Norm Macdonald had
I remember
a farm.
that guy from kindergarten.
Norm Macdonald had a farm. Go on, give me a score.
You ready?
Yeah. Ooh, I would say that's 9:30. Or was it 10 to 10?
Yep.
10.
All kidding aside, I really appreciate the lyrics. I love the idea that it's a concept album. I love the production. There's a lot of things I love about this album, but when I not your nostril, but when I sit down, that is so weird. I've never seen someone's nostril sit like that. Like, I feel like I'm watching a Steve-O show or something. You're gonna like nail it. But overall, the best when I'm listening to it as I go, I kind of like that part, but it didn't blow me away. I didn't love it. But I would say if you're an Arctic Monkeys fan, definitely listen to it. I'm excited to see where they go next from here. I like that they're not doing what they always do. So I'll get this burp out, and then say that it's worth listening to. It's worth checking out. It just didn't. If we're talking about a prize and giving someone an award, it just isn't quite at the level where I think it should win. But I do think it's worth listening to.
I think, have the Arctic Monkeys won this before?
I think they did. I think someone referenced it in your comments.
Hang on, just let me just do one thing here. I'll have to put something on the screen now so you can't see what I've been looking up. Hang on. Mercury prize winners. Hang on. Let me just bring up the Mercury.
I'll say hi to Podrick and Evil White Clown Punk.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Hang on. What year would it have been? It would have been the 2000s. Arctic Monkeys. They won it in 2006 with their debut album, Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not. So they have won it before. So, the reason I bring that up is it's always interesting. Can a band win the Mercury twice? I think PJ Harvey's won it 2 or 3 times. Radiohead have been nominated loads of times, never won it.
Yep.
So, can the Arctic Monkeys win it again? Yes, they can. Should they win it again? With this album, I haven't heard all the albums yet, obviously, but I'm not sure that this Lounge Lizard thing can win it. I thought this was okay, this album. Yeah. It grew on me. I'll tell you what, It grew on me. It grew on me. And after a while, I was liking the fact that it sounds like Pet Sounds. I appreciated the effort. And I liked his lyrics. But I still want to smack him across the face. So I give this... It's better than average. I think, but not by very much. No, it is better than average. I will give it... Maybe I'll give it 10 o'clock.
Okay,
10 to
so a little
10.
more than...
10 to 10. Well, you gave it 9:30. I give it 10 to 10. So we've got 21:30 and 21:50. That's the. We'll do an average. What's the average between those two?
We almost called our band the 10 to 10 hour initiative at first.
Yeah, we did.
Then after
we called it that for a while, didn't we? We actually played a few gigs under that name.
We did. We had the T-shirts made. Remember? We had it spelled out in fireworks above the London Bridge.
Bill.
Yeah.
Do you think people should tune in for the next episode? Do you think they should tune in? And if you do think they should tune in, tell me why they should tune in. Why should they tune in?
I think they should tune in for your... All right, cut that out. I think they should tune in because I really like the next album. And for our sharp wit and lightning fast dialogue and shitty internet connection.
Thank you very much. Till
See you later,
time.
Innovators.
See you later, Innovator. See you later, Innovator. Oh, God. Neon display. Over. And...